Rockstars! Happy Monday and welcome to a new week and a new chance to serve and protect the taxpayer.
I just want to go right back to the beginning when you were writing the stage play. Kind of what did that look like? Like what did every day look like? How do you two write together? Just the process of writing it.
I feel like you can start because we sort of met in drama school.
Yeah. Well, the thing that a lot of people don't know, I'm trying to remember if this is 100% accurate, but so me and Lauren both have done drama writing degrees at QT. We did them years ago. And we're both working in call centers during COVID. And for me personally, I wasn't doing a lot of acting that year. So I was just working full time at this call center and I was just writing every single call down. Like the calls were ridiculous that I was like, I have to turn this into something. And I think at the time I was like thinking like a 4-person play. I was thinking like, I don't know what I was going to see it as. And I called it phone center play. I found my draft the other day. I was like,
catchy.
Yeah, phone center play. I didn't have a name, but it was on Google Docs and it was every call that was just like absolutely absurd. I just used to write down word for word and it was like almost a way to get out of the abuse, but just like deal with it all.
To depersonalize for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like Lauren,
yeah,
you were kind of doing the same thing.
I was doing the same thing. So it's kind of funny because Kelly and I worked at different call centers. So obviously, I worked for a local government call center. So like the local council in Melbourne. And during COVID, I was doing acting beforehand as well in Melbourne. After I did the writing degree, I moved down. Well, drama writing. I moved down and then I got that as like a casual job. It was really good, like good money, chill. And then COVID hit and it was like, okay, like this is all I have. And so I started working full time at the call center and I was like, this is awful. No one should have to do this. But yeah, it was very much that same thing of like, this, like you literally can't write some of the stuff that people say to you. Like it's full like mask off shit. Like it is unreal. And so I was doing the same thing, blah, 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 blah. And then when Kelly and I met, we really hit it off just as friends to start with. And then when did we start talking about it? Probably like May of 2022.
Yeah. So we both got into the acting degree up here in Queensland at QT. And I think I just remember just like bitching to you about like all of my work stories. And then I feel like we just really started relating on all the stories. And I remember telling you that I'd written all these random drafts and you've been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think you approached me because you saw Brisbane Fringe was coming up.
And I came up with the title and I was like, oh, that's a comedy play. Like we can do something with that. And I also have a background in like improv comedy. So I'd been doing improv comedy in Melbourne. And then when I moved up to Brizzy to do the acting degree, there's an improv comedy theatre here called Big Fork. And I got a couple of scholarships to keep studying there, which was really good because it meant I didn't have to pay to learn how to do more improv because I don't have any money. And yeah, so we were there at the theatre and they were actually a hub for the Brisbane Fringe Festival, which Brisbane Fringe hadn't been a thing for years. I think it used to be. And then they re-upped it because the same guys who run Anywhere run Brisbane Fringe. And Big Fork was going to be a hub. Like I knew obviously the directors of the theater because I'd been there, like working the bar, doing my scholarship classes, like just getting up, doing like, you know, some of the MC nights, doing some of the improv nights, and was like, hey guys, like if we wanted to put on like a short, like less than an hour kind of play here for Brisbane Fringe, would you guys be keen to have it? And they were just like, yeah, easy, yes. And so we were like, okay, well, we got a venue, we've got an idea. I guess we're going to write this script. And I was actually, oh my God, I was going overseas. So I went to America because I'm half American. So I was going over to visit my family. And the like cutoff line, like deadline for registering for the Fringe was the day that I was leaving. So the night before, we had to do like all of the promo images, all of the stuff. We didn't have a finished script yet. So we like had the idea for the two characters. We like knew that it was going to be kind of like a buddy comedy, like an odd couple dynamic. And then basically from the like, okay, what is the vibe of these two girls? We need to put this into like a hero image. And then like, I've got to fuck off to the States. So we did it at like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, my boyfriend was like just taking the photos.
Yeah.
We were like office.
I had like a 7-Eleven coffee cup and like a cigarette, and I was like, I'm Alexis, I guess. Yeah, so we had all that, and then I was like in the States, and me and Kelly were like writing like on different time zones.
I remember that. Yeah.
And it was really fun. Like I think the way that we kind of approached it was sort of like, what do we actually want the play to be primarily about first? And we had like a lot of jokes and a lot of things that we were like, oh, that'd be funny, but like we wanted to make sure that the heart of the play was there.
We had a lot of discussion about what is this play actually speaking to. I remember we had a lot of those.
The last thing we wanted to do was like denigrate anybody who was in a service position, but we also didn't want it to like be just like bludgeoning the customers and being like, oh, everybody's so shit. Like we wanted there to be that kind of balance in the perspective, but coming through the lens of these two characters. And then what does it mean to kind of be a young person trying to get by, trying to find purpose? What does friendship look like when we're in this world of work that is just so like, you really feel like it's impossible to get ahead at the moment. And like, you're there, you're grinding, you're like, oh my God, I have dreams, I guess, but it feels like so ridiculous to even try and pursue them, because even not having a dream or doing a dream job is already hard enough. And then kind of looking at like, so what does that dynamic look like? What are the obstacles for each of these girls to like get what they want out of life, and why are they friends? Why do they come together? Why do they stay together? And like, what do they give each other? And that was kind of the journey that we went on with them. Yeah. And then I guess very practically, like, because we knew it was going to be a 55-minute play, we were like, all right, 10 scenes. We got 10 scenes. We're going to do it. We've only got us two. We're not going to be able to change the set because we're in a Fringe show. Like, it's going to be nothing. It's going to be desks and chairs and headsets. That's what it is. And we knew that the Big Fork stage had the 2 doors. So knowing which stage we were going to be on when we started writing, that let us kind of write in some of the stuff about like the office environment itself too. So we had like the kitchenette, the rest of the offices. We knew that like the boss was going to need to be voiceover. So we were going to have like the morning meeting and all of this stuff. So that kind of like those constraints, the creative constraints, I think really helped us flesh out the world as well with some of those details. And then from there, we just went back to the document and went, all right, let's get it all in there. We got these types of customers. We got these jokes. We got these moments in the friendship, and let's like craft the journey.
Yeah. I think we also there was so much of our own experience in the play. Like I remember we just sat and wrote down every funny or interesting thing from our experience and compiled it in a document. And even like the beginning of the play starts with my character coming in, doing a little routine for work, and then I leave, and then you come in, do your routine for work. I just remember we wrote that just because I was showing you what I do for my own work. I was like, this is what I do when I come to work.
Kelly girl.
And you just sat on the couch and I did this full routine. I was like, I have my headphones and I do this and I have like 3 drinks and like
writing down what she did, and I was like, so many beverages.
Yeah, even the description was just like you sitting there watching. So I think there was just so much of our own experiences and truth in it that really, like, the amount of like comments we got from people that watched the play that were like, that is so relatable, or how did you think of that? And we're like, oh no, that was actually just like really happened in the office. Like even I went to my managers and I was like, what's the worst thing you've been like told on a call? Like what's the worst stories you called your managers being like, what is the craziest stories? Like we just got all the research. We had like so many stories.
Yeah.
And so many that got left out too. There were so many funny ones that were like, couldn't fit it all in.
Yeah. I feel like that was a very long-winded answer to your
no,
first.
it's good. It's good. It makes
Yeah.
it, it's more interesting. Like the more to say, the better.
Yeah.
But you've talked a lot about like your own inspirations from your own lives. Was there any other like external inspirations, like movies or plays that came to you?
Yeah. So a couple, like, I love so much Working Dog Productions, and like Rob Sitch, Utopia was huge, like genuine dream to work with those guys. Like even Hollow Man, like all of that kind of like the real Australian sensibility, like satirical, like it's that undercutting where it's like it's almost British, but it's not. Like we loved so many things. Like Kelly and I were being like, oh, it's like that bit, it's like that, you know, the word cloud, like all of those little references. And then I think as well, just for the relationship for the two girls, for me, like Broad City was a huge influence, like looking at that, because it is really at its heart like a platonic love story between the two girls. Like the iteration for Brisbane Fringe and Adelaide Fringe, and even this next kind of iteration that we're working on, the web series, it's all about like finding the love in the people that are around us, rather than being like, oh, the world sucks, work sucks, this sucks. It's like, well, what we've got is each other, and like what makes that so special. And I love like the irreverence that Broad City has, where it's like these two girls are so different, but like you know that they give each other something that they can't give themselves, which I just think is like so cool. And also Sorry to Bother You was a big one, especially for the web series. Yeah, we really like that episode where they're like
They
dropping
fall
in.
down.
We're like,
Yeah.
we're just gonna creative inspiration. Yeah, was there anything that, like, because I know we have like kind of different writing influences as well, Kelly. Like, was there anything that you
I feel like Utopia was a big one.
Yeah.
I think, and I mean, I know that you really referenced it a lot, but Gilmore Girls, the friendship between them, because I feel like it's a show that we both love. I really felt like the way that they can make mundane things really fun and ritualistic is what I got inspired from.
Yeah. And what else I love about Amy Sherman Palladino, and you see this in Mrs. Maisel as well, is it's like the female characters, it's like we made a very conscious decision to have Ella and Alexis never talk about their relationships, because so often those like female friendships especially get sublimated for like the idea of like a romantic love. And we wanted to really center that idea of like, no, this connection that we have is special and is worth exploring, even extant to the idea of like romantic love. And especially in a 55-minute play where we're already tackling all of these things about like the world of work and modern office dynamics and like where we're at as a society and what it means to be a friend and all of that. We were like, you know what? We don't need to talk about like their sexuality or their relationships or anything like that. I mean, they've got them, but it's not fucking all women talk about. It's like as if our play is not going to pass the Bechdel test. Like, come on. Yeah, and I think Gilmore Girls is great for that too, because so much of it is just about like, it's like the boyfriends are almost the subplots, and the real relationship is between Lorelai and Rory.
Yeah, and it's like the boyfriends that do come into the show are competing for the relationship that the mom and daughter have, which I really like. So
yeah,
cool. And you talked a bit before about writing it and creating it, but then actually when you were performing it, what did that kind of look like? Like the day in, day out of it? Was it like a, big slog kind of grind, no sleep type thing, or was it a bit more relaxed?
Which version of the play we're talking about, which point in time.
So when the first play got put on, I think we were still writing. I think writing took a lot longer than we thought. Especially
we finished the draft, and then we had the draft, and then we were like, got it up on its feet, and then we were like,
yeah, because you can write it. And then when we were writing, I remember we were like saying things out loud. So we weren't, it's not like we just wrote and we're like, didn't know what it sounded like. But once you really put it on its feet and you start blocking it, you're like, and I think it got way too long as well. I think, I mean, like I think it was like a week and a half out, we'd finished the script. It was a bit tight, to block that. But I think I remember 4 days from opening night, we reworked the whole script. We cut out half the play 4 days out.
And rewrote like quite a few scenes where like literally the morning of opening night, I was listening to like the voice recording that Kelly and I had done on repeat, like with my boyfriend at the time, like driving around, and he's like trying to talk to me and I'm like, fuck off, I can't listen to you, I need to learn these lines. I was like, babe, run these lines with me. And oh my god, Kelly's need before opening night to just go have a private moment in the bathroom was like, I can't handle the stress right now. She was like, I'm gonna just have a little breakdown and I'll be right back. And I was like, you go have a breakdown.
There was a lot, yeah. I think it's great though. I think it energized the performance.
Yeah, electric.
I think opening night was, I think we winged a lot of it. There was a lot of improv going on there, but I think
it was an improv theater, you know.
Yeah, I think, what was I gonna say? Hours. You're talking about the hours involved. So we were at acting school while doing it. I decided to join that. We were doing like a Shakespeare school tour. So I was doing that during the days, and then
Kelly was fucked.
And then you had heaps of stuff going on personally in personal life. And I think the boundaries, because we didn't know how long things would take, so we didn't really schedule it. So we just went, we'll meet at 7 a.m. on a day off, or like 8. I remember sometimes we're like 9 a.m. Yeah, get a sleep in, get some breakfast.
Yeah.
And then we'd just stay till it was mainly 11 p.m.
I was
midnight.
actually looking through our Instagram stories from like that time period the other day, and there's this fucking Instagram story of us in Z Block at like, I think it's like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning, listening to like Kids Bop Macklemore. Like we got so fucking delirious. We were like in the rehearsal room, like with a broom. Like it was so good.
That was a rough night.
That was a rough night. The Kids Bop Macklemore was the shelf just down on the bottom.
It got to we just didn't leave Z Block. And I remember like Maddie, well, you would have met Maddie through Greenlit. Because she lived near the building, she would just like, it'd be 10 p.m. She'd go, oh, I think they'll probably still be here. They've been here since like 10 in the morning, whatever. So she'll just walk down and we were there just still. I think it was a good lesson though, also of like,
we learned our lesson.
I think we just abused the fact that we're like, oh, well, we're just only doing this, so we'll just be here till it's done. But then because you didn't have like a schedule, we'd just be there till like midnight.
Yeah.
Like every night. But we got it done.
Yeah. And I remember though, we did have like, so we had like a preview. A preview. Oh my
that
God.
Was the Macklemore night. I think we finished the preview.
Yeah. And it was a shambles. It was honestly a car crash of a show. And we had like 3 or 4 people come to watch and like give some notes, and opening was the next night, and afterwards it was just the most deafening silence. We like finished the show and everyone was like,
I swear we burst into tears after that. Like it was pretty,
but then opening night was amazing.
But it was fine. You just pull it together.
Yeah, you pulled it together. And then because we got really lucky with the way that our season worked, like I think Taylor and the team at Big Four like did us real solid with the way that they programmed us for Fringe, where we had the Saturday and Sunday night, and then we had a week off, and then we had Saturday and Sunday night again, and then a week off and Saturday and Sunday. And so like people who are going to come see like comedy shows, like if they're going to come, it's usually going to be on the weekend. So even though we're, you know, I mean, we had a hometown crowd and it was pretty friendly, but we ended up getting quite a few people in, quite a lot of energy. Like people really shared it with their networks. And because we had those little breaks between the shows, it was just every single performance, it was getting better. It was that thing of like, cool, like we're riding the audience, we're like, that's the time, that's that moment, like finding the hook in.
So we did add in things, even like right before opening, there were just like new jokes that we even added in. Like it was constantly evolving. Like I think my housemate had to stay home from work, she got too sunburnt, and I just thought it was so funny, so we just added it into the play.
And that's the fun thing about being like the writer performers, is it's like whatever we think is good, we're just like, yeah, we're gonna do it. Like we just have the creative control to just be like, it's ours.
But then it also adds the extra pressure when you're on stage and you're saying the joke and you're like, okay, it's my responsibility as an actor to say this well, but I'm also directing this. So like our energy together, like that's also on us. And then the joke itself is also on us. So you're like, there's a lot at stake here.
Yeah, it's real baptism by fire. I'd put it that way.
You're like, I don't know what you laughed at. Was my delivery? Was it the writing?
All
was
three,
it
babes. You were so good. I saw you. We actually realized yesterday we've never seen each other in a play.
Yeah, we've been
Every
in
single play that we've known each other for, we've been in together. So I've never watched Kelly act. Is she any good?
So neither of you actually know.
Funny. Yeah. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
You did go into it a bit then, but I was just wondering, like, was there any like funny moments on stage that you can look back on now and laugh at where things kind of went wrong really badly or something didn't go the way you planned?
Improving like a whole scene.
I fucked up the lines. I think it was probably like the third performance or something, and I fully fucked it. I fucked it so bad, but I ended up coming off looking really good because I was like improving the lines with just the most conviction I could muster, and Kelly was like, and it was one of those scenes where it was like, I'm on the phone and your lines are cued off my lines.
Yeah.
And you had no idea when my line was going to be over.
We did write it in a way that was really difficult to remember. Because essentially like the scenes is like, we're both on separate phone calls.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I'll know where I'm at in my phone call by where you're at in your phone call. I'm like, okay, she's getting up to the bit complaining about the traffic light. I should be finishing my call soon.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we both did it to each other. Like I definitely improv'd in the later shows, but it was so funny just being like, I don't know where she's at in this call. Am I meant to be ending my call soon?
Yeah.
And then I remember my mum later that night was like, oh, did you forget a few lines there? And I was like,
yeah, me, I forgot a few lines.
But no, you like your improv. That's what I think improv does. Just you have to just make it work.
Yeah.
And it was good though. I think, but we did make it work. I was like, okay, she's spoken like a certain amount of times. I should be up here. And Maddie, who was watching, she's doing tech at the back. She was like, you guys kept just going out of the scene, but then back in. Like, you just aligned.
Just locked in. You girls are just so talented.
No,
one of my favorite moments actually was like after your mum saw the play and we have that line about Tracy being pregnant. And then during the rush, we're like, oh, I wish Andrew like got more people to cover. And then you're like, oh, well, Tracy's pregnant. And I go, slut. And then after the play, Kelly's mum was like, her name's Tracy.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, I was, because we have a lot of inspiration from, so like at the end of the show, people are like, oh, you made a joke about dandruff, that's about so and so. You make a joke about like crypto, that's about so and so. And like,
oh shit,
I don't know, there's a lot of jokes like that, and it was very targeted to a lot of people. And yeah, I was telling my mom, and she's like, oh, the Tracy one, eh? Ha ha. And I was like, which one? I was like, oh, the slut. I was like, yeah, mom, God.
Milf.
What else was, there's a few things. I'm trying to remember what happened that was like little faulty things that we kind of made work.
Time.
I feel like, I mean, there was one where I spilled a Slurpee.
Oh, the Slurpee was bad.
And it was Mac's carpet.
That was bad.
And I was a hyper clean character. And I just...
And I needed my Slurpee for the prop.
And
so
I
ended up like sucking on an empty Slurpee where I was like...
I spilled it all over like around my desk, and I froze. I just left it there. Yeah. Well, I just left the Slurpee, and then everyone just watched it, and I was like, that happened. My character would be obsessively cleaning that, but I got to move on. So...
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I'm trying to think, but I think you just make it work. I think we just knew the story at least so much.
Yeah, I think that was the good thing about obviously writing as well as performing. It's like, well, we know where this is going. Like, no matter what, like, we know what it's gonna be ultimately.
Yeah,
so,
and the dynamic, if you've got the dynamic there and just the energy.
Like, especially for Fringe, like, especially Brisbane Fringe, the audience, like, I think especially with a new festival, people are kind of like, I'm just in it for the ride. Like, I don't really know what to expect. So I'm just here, I'm doing it, and we're just going to see what happens. So I really loved, like, our audiences were just so open to the play itself and where it was going. And like some of the things that I thought they'd maybe be a bit like, I don't know, wouldn't really hook into, they just loved.
Yeah. There was one lady that came in, who we didn't know, and she sat at the front and she laughed at everything. And I was like, surely this is just like Lauren's auntie or something. I was like, so lovely of her to come. She's just laughing at everything. And she came up after and was just raving about the whole play. And I just kept looking at Lauren like, oh yeah, like you're probably her auntie. And we were both like, oh, neither of us know her. And she just worked at a call center and she brought all of her call center friends.
It was so cool.
And it was just so lovely. She was laughing at all the niche jokes. Yeah. So I think it's like when you put it forward to an audience, they like inform you what's funny, what's good, like timing as well.
And I think as well it speaks to that, like that authenticity where we were like, well, we believe in this idea and we believe in like including these things because they're so true to our experience. And if we believe in it, then there's going to be somebody else out there that it resonates with too. And it is that idea, I think, of like finding your audience, because you always get told that as like a creator, right? It's like, who is this for? Who is this for? Like, why are you doing this? And it's like, well, yes, you do kind of need to like know who the audience is when you're writing, but also like to know who you are and to be like, I trust that my internal calibration as an artist and as a writer, that the things that pique my interest or that I find funny or that I find really like captivating, to put that in and know that if I believe in it, I'm not the only one. Like it's not going to be,
it's very well worded. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, you've got to make like the art just for yourself, essentially. Like,
yeah, I think it's about like, because there's something in you that wants to be expressed, right? Like we're not sitting there going like, oh, I want to write this play about working in a call center because, oh fuck, I really need to like do something for my artistic career, and like, oh, I guess this is like, I guess this is like what I know. Like if we would have lost, so we wouldn't be here if we didn't like it. Like it's too hard. Like you can't do it if you don't actually care about the idea. And I think that actually has been a really cool lesson to learn, is like put the energy into the projects that you can't stop thinking about and that you need to like, that need to find a way to be expressed, even if you don't know what that is. Like we do a lot of, one of our favorite writing phrases, this has been a godsend for us, is not this, but, and like anytime we have an idea where it's like, okay, not this, but, and you like express it in like a bad way, and then you take that and you turn it into something else. And I think that's been like, that freedom to just be shit with each other has been really good. Where it's like, this isn't funny. Like what I'm about to say isn't a funny joke, but we'll get there. Like, yeah.
I think talking it out. I know I'm trying to remember what your question was now. I think we've definitely gone past it. But in the writing process, talking it out to each other, like writing alone can be really difficult because you're trying to like speak aloud, and it's like I'll say something, but then you grab one of those words and go along with that idea, and then I'll bring it to another place.
And Kelly's very good at bringing me back. Kelly is great because as you can tell, I'm like, and this, and she's like, and Lauren, let's. It's a good dynamic. I feel really lucky to like, we could have so easily fucking hated each other after doing Fringe.
Yeah, I actually did say that. I remember the barista that was serving us every day. I said to him, I was like, God, like, you really got to pick who you choose with. I was like, God, if it wasn't Lauren, like, if I was spending this many hours with someone. Because I think as well, okay, now we're just into a whole new topic, but like, while it's on my mind, like when you're working with someone that much, I think having someone that you can just like rock up and be in a bad mood. Like I remember we had some, and you went through a lot personally that year, because Lauren just moved to Brisbane that year and was going through all these life changes. And then I was doing this random Shakespeare play during the thing. But like you would come in like not having slept. I would have like been tired for some other reason with this play. And then I think I had that car accident thing.
Oh my God. And then I had my car accident.
Then you had yours. Anyways. So lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I think just like being able to be like, okay, we're just whatever we're at today, we can be honest.
Yeah.
Even with writing, like I find it really hard to like if I don't get something, I'm like, I don't get it. Like I want to, and Lauren's like someone that I feel like I can just be like, won't take it personally. I'll just be like, I don't get that joke. Like, why is it funny? Oh, okay, now I get it. Like, just not that like judgment, because I think it's so vulnerable, like writing and acting and all of that with someone. So finding who you work with is very important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel so lucky. I'm just like, oh, thank fuck. Thank fuck that worked out, because we really like put a lot of energy into that. So yeah.
A lot of energy.
All right. We're going to stop on that topic now.
No,
What's your next question?
I'll make the questions about what you guys talk about.
Cool.
I want to now move on to the web series. So I just want to, same as before, like kind of just the process making that and working with I think it's Exit Ghost Productions.
Yeah, Exit Ghost.
Kind of getting it all made. So we got 3 minutes left of this meeting, but then we'll just pop back into it. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, Maddie was working with us. Like a lot of what we did in acting school was we got really used to giving each other feedback. Like that was part of the big, like, it was really encouraged in the course of like, get your peers to like watch your work, do all this, whatever. And when we were doing Brisbane Fringe, Maddie has had quite a bit of like tech experience and is pretty good with like the kind of production side of things, like risk management, like all of that. And so we were like, Mads, like if you have any time, we would be so grateful for your help, and especially if you're happy to tech the show. So she did. She was our technical operator for Brisbane Fringe, and her and Mac are obviously a partnership. And so she was talking to him about the show. He came and saw the show. Like I didn't really have much to do with Mac before we started working on the web series together. Like I'd met him, but I hadn't really.
I feel like, they were really great, because when it was just me and Lauren in the room, sometimes with blocking, when you're blocking a play alone, you're like, we're like trying to video it, and you're like, does that look weird? Like, am I too, like, we're not symmetrical? Like, it's really hard without just like someone to be like, oh, no, do that, or that looks better, like aesthetically. So Maddie and Matt, because they do live so close to the uni where we're rehearsing, they're just like, as I said before, like they just wander up to be like, I wonder what Kelly and Lauren are doing. And they just sit and like give feedback and notes. And I think what happened was Mac got like really inspired by the characters, and he was like, he just really saw them for what they were. He was like, could really see the dynamic and got really invested.
As well, like when I came into the course, my goal actually for the first year, it was so funny. Like the first day of class, we had like our screen class, and we went around the circle, and everyone was like, these are sort of my goals for the year, whatever. And I had said, I really, really want to make a web series. Didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was like, I know that I want to make a web series. I really love like independent production. I love TV. Like TV is my thing. That's what I want to do. And so I was like, I know that I want to make my own series as like a precursor to that. And so I'd said that in this big group, and it had just kind of been sitting in the milieu for, a while. And then when Kelly and I decided to do Brisbane Fringe, I was like, okay, web series dream, probably not going to happen this year. Okay. We're doing the play. Like, let's just focus on that. And then with Mac's involvement and Maddie's involvement and their attachment, and they had that grant, and they had just done Greenlit, which we had seen that had just come out when we came into the course. Like
my goal was to do a Greenlit or try and be in one of their web series, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. And so we just had that real, like, it just aligned really perfectly, where they were like, we love the script. We'd love to adapt it. I was like, perfect. I want to adapt it. Like, let's go. So I'm just conscious of the time. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah.